for, the past 30 years, we know that when we start pitching, the number of listeners goes down. So if they did their portable people meter rating, if we got rated during a thon, that's going to depress our numbers kind of seriously. So Pacifica Management is trying to see if they can find some other time period when we did better, when they can appeal to the CPB and get them to count those numbers instead of what might have been during a thon.
Anybody else have anything to say on the finance report, treasurer's report?
Well, we have a motion.
Yes.
I would like to make it a formal motion that all local finance committee reports be given to the local station board members in writing.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a second, yes.
I'd like to amend that. I think the motions coming out of the Finance Committee report should be in writing. I don't think we necessarily want to burden the chair of the Finance Committee with having to write down this whole report. I mean, we don't do that with any other committee. I don't think that's really fair.
May I say why I think it's important, Mitch?
Let me see if anybody else wants to speak. Yes, Paul.
Well, we've been getting reports for 7 years. We've gotten a handful written, a number of those handful from me, and so suddenly someone wants to have it all in writing all the time. Well, I think that's it certainly is interesting, isn't it? The deal of putting these things in writing, we'll delay it, by the way, because I put these, for instance, last night we had an NFC meeting, and I'm reporting on that. If people require that be in writing at the meeting, that means somehow I have to type that up in the less than 24 hours between the two meetings. Sometimes a lot less than 24 hours between the two meetings, because the NFC goes after midnight sometimes. And then I have to, after writing it and printing it, I have to go find a photocopy place, get it photocopied, and that ain't gonna work.
I understood Nia's motion. Tell me if I'm incorrect, Nia, that you didn't have to have, the treasurer does not have to have it in writing at the meeting where the report is delivered, but can be brought in later, put online, or be included in the minutes at the next meeting, and so forth. I didn't, right, is that correct?
Yes, you understood me correctly. And just may I say why? I don't know if everyone heard the auditor's report, but the foundation has a going concern. And I think it behooves us as WBAI, who, we are considered to be a drain on the foundation's books in terms of owing $1.6 million in central services, that we just show in writing that we are making an effort. Tomorrow, the other three directors and myself, we have to meet with Berthold to go over how we're going to address all these problems. And I think that it used to be done in writing, and not because he's my husband, but Baruti used to give the reports in writing. Well, I'm not comparing our Paul with anybody. I'm just saying, just give the reports in writing. I don't know what the harm is. That comes with the territory of being a chair. That's the way. If you don't want to be if you don't want to do the reports, somebody else.
Address.
I'm sorry.
Nothing. Yes.
Hold on. Order.
Yes.
We're out of time for this item.
Anybody like to move to extend time on this item so we could get to vote on any of these proposals?
Well, we can still vote.
No, I'm
I don't think it's good to vote without discussion
Well,
on these.
But
Move to extend
I have
to
a
5
point
minutes.
of order, Mitchell.
Yes.
If the motion, excuse me, I have a point of order.
Okay,
Mitchell,
fine, I can be for.
if the motions are already made, we can still vote for them and not have to extend time.
It's true.
I'm asking. to
We don't
extend
have
time.
to, but we can. You just said that we
A
can.
point of order?
No, I said what my
A point
purpose
of
was.
order? Point of order?
Yes.
Okay.
And Carolyn had a point of order also.
No, it wasn't a point of order, it was a move to extend time.
Okay.
Okay. I have a point of order.
Wait, she's got.
This thing about cleaning up the votes when time runs out. Robert's rules does not say that. This is something that I don't know why it's being done or who started or whatever, maybe before I got involved in governance. But that's not what Robert's rules says. Robert's rules says when time is out, and the Robert's rules king over here, Bob Lederer, going to say it's either you postpone or you table. It doesn't say to clean up what's on the,
No, it's
what's on
incorrect.
the-
If it's on
pardon?
it's incorrect. If it's on the floor, if the motion has been made on the floor and time runs out, it goes to a vote on that motion, or it could be a motion to table it, or so forth. But yeah, that's in Robert's rules. Carolyn had a motion to extend for 5 minutes. Is there any objection for extending for 5 minutes?
Yes.
Yes, there is. All in favor of extending for 5 minutes, please raise your hands.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8. All opposed?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6, 7. So that passes. Oh, it doesn't. I'm sorry, it doesn't. It requires 2/3. It's my fault. My error. So we go to a vote on one by one. Can you please, could Jamie or Arpaul please read off the motion one by one, and we'll vote on each one in. That's what I.
You voted for.
That's what. Yeah. Exactly.
Just like people in Minnesota, you go along with it.
Come on, come on.
Out of a job.
Well, you could move to table it, you could move to postpone it, yes you can,
You can't
during the
put
vote.
table. No more motions are entertained. Can't make it
The first,
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
yes.
That's not correct.
Well,
That's not correct.
could you please read off the first, Jamie, if our Paul is busy?
Well, okay.
The first
We're doing
motion.
These 5 motions, okay.
Yes.
You want to go from the bottom or from the top first?
You want to go for in order, first one, and then when you get to the end, stop.
Motion number 1, the Finance Committee requests that the LSB and NFC pass this motion, quote,
Go
"No
ahead.
family member or live-in partner of any manager may be paid as either a freelance contractor or as a wage person," unquote.
And there was an amendment
That was
that I would
amended.
take as an amendment by both Alex and Nia to refer to pass, to suggest that this be referred to the PNB's Personnel Committee. So that would be part,
Motion or
that is an amendment.
the motion be referred, or that each of these cases be referred to the PNB?
It's a motion. So all in favor of first the amendment? Please, any objections?
Mr. Chair, wait a minute. Okay, since
That was
we
already on
can't
the
refer,
floor.
we're suggesting to the PNB, because we can't parallel right to that committee. We suggest to the PNB.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
I'll say it. Will you please ask the
Yeah,
member
right.
to stop shouting out? And the chair needed to make that clear one way or another, so we don't come back here a month from now and yell at each other because somebody thinks it's referred to a
We're
committee.
clear on this, is right. We know that we're sending this, if we pass this, we're sending this to the PNB with a recommendation that they refer to their Personnel Committee. That we're concerned with this issue.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
we also, as members of PNB, have a right to amend these motions before we send them, because it's our committee. And I made a motion to add an amendment to this particular motion.
No, time is up.
Yeah, time ran out. But people voted not to
Time's
extend
up.
time.
Let's go.
So we just voted, going down the list and voting for now. So is there any objections to the amendment? Seeing none, that passes. Is there now, going on the entire motion, are there any objections to the motion?
Which motion?
The first one.
The first one,
The motion we
as
just
amended.
We still have to vote on it?
Is there any objection to this? Seeing none, it passes.
Wait, I object.
Oh, you object?
I thought we got rid of it.
No,
Okay.
you're just saying, oh, wait. Yeah, it's not a referral. If it were a referral, it
Okay.
would.
Okay.
But it's an amendment, ordinary amendment.
All,
Please repeat it.
please repeat it as amended.
Oh, Well, the motion,
No, actually, Jamie, Jamie doesn't have it.
I don't have the motion, but I have the amendment.
All right, so do the,
Why don't I
amend,
have
well,
the-
do the
Here,
motion
I'll
and,
splice
and,
it together.
right.
okay, you do that.
The Finance Committee requests that the LSB and NFC pass this motion. No family member or live-in partner of any manager be paid as either a freelance contractor or as a wage person. And the WBAI LSB recommends that the PNB refer this motion to the PNB Personnel Committee.
Any objections?
I object.
There is an objection. All in favor, please raise your hand. We didn't vote on it yet. We voted on the amendment before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're voting on the entire thing.
They can refer to the PNB. PNB should.
Let's do this again. We're voting on the entire thing. All in favor, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
We're not good.
All opposed.
I don't know what.
1, 2. Passes.
What's the vote, 8-2, you said?
Yes.
10-2?
So 8-2,
8 to
there's
2.
no motion to be recommended to be
That's
referred,
bundled in with it, that's part.
We go, that's part of it.
right?
That was an amendment,
is-
that was part of it.
Number 2,
Number 2.
that the LSB ask management or Pacifica for a list of each office and tower rental payment since January 2008, including the period when debt was incurred and dates payments were due, mailed, and cashed.
Don't we have that information? Point of information,
Yes.
is that public information?
Probably is.
Don't we have it already? We don't have that?
Well, is there any objection?
Uh,
Chicken.
Point of information.
Hold on, let's read it again and then we got a point of information.
All right, the motion is that the LSB ask management or Pacifica for of each office and tower rental payment since January 2008, including period when debt was incurred and dates payment were due, mailed, and cashed.
Point of information.
Yes, Alex was first, then. we'll go to Alex.
I'm wondering why we need motions passed by the LSB on this matter when it seems like a simple request from the Finance Committee could just get the information.
Well, the finance
The-
committee passed this and asked them to bring here, so I
Right,
bring
the
it.
Finance Committee passed this way back because we weren't getting that information. Yes,
That
Carol.
was my point. When was this motion actually passed by the Finance Committee?
2001.
Let's see, it's probably something close to, I'm guessing, a year, 10 months a year, somewhere in there. I mean, I don't have the date on it, but it's not terribly recent at all.
Okay,
There was a time, well, I won't get into other matters.
Okay, if anybody feels like they would like to table this and discuss it next time.
I'd like to move to table.
Okay, there's a motion to table it. Is there objection to tabling? We can bring it off the table at a future meeting if we want. Seeing none, that's tabled.
Number 3, that the LSB ask WBAI management if any WBAI funds are involved in this solicitation by the Conflict Resolution Committee, and if not, remove it from the website, and furthermore ask that any fundraising efforts that do not go through WBAI be removed from the website.
What is that first? Not first,
Okay, we can't discuss this, unfortunately. We can't discuss it, it's a conflict.
You can read, he wants it read again.
Oh, okay.
Reading again. That the LSB ask WBAI management if any WBAI funds are involved in this solicitation by the Conflict Resolution Committee. And if not, remove it from the website, and furthermore ask that any fundraising efforts that do not go through WBAI be removed from the website.
Yeah.
He says this solicitation, what solicitation are you referring to?
That's it, we can't discuss right now.
You can ask a point
Okay, that's true. It refers to the conflict resolution committee that was put together by Jim Crevo and a few other people, and that's what it refers to.
I have plenty of information.
Yeah.
Is the solicitation still on the website as the motion was filed?
It's not on the front page.
Somewhere?
I think it's somewhere on there. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Point of order.
Okay, it's there. Yes.
Mr. Chair, it's now 8:33. If we're gonna have 30 minutes of comment, we will run over. We're gonna stop now and have public comment. We have to get out of here.
Right. We're going to finish the voting first. So, is there a motion to table this, or what does people want to do with it? You want to just
Table it because you have to have the public comment.
no? Okay, there is a motion to table. Yes.
I move that we table all of these motions.
The remaining ones.
Okay, is there objection to tabling the whole thing for now? The
remaining
remaining,
ones.
right, the remaining ones. Seeing none, okay, we table them.
The remaining ones.
Th- What is the next item on the revised agenda, Jamie?
Public comment.
Well, the next item is the PND report, but there was one motion in there that we didn't deal with.
We tabled the whole thing?
No, this wasn't one of the finance committee motions. This was a motion made here by Nia and amended by Alex that all motions should be in writing, or that all reports should be in
Correct.
writing. I mean, I don't know if you want to deal with that now, but that was not.
Mr. Chair, we can't deal with
Is-
this. We're due to
it's
start
on the
public
table.
comment now.
No, it's on the table. Do people,
Okay, I move to table that one.
Okay.
Okay, second.
all right, is there,
Not sure that's legal.
is there objection to tabling? This is, the motion that Nia and Alex.
No, it's in writing.
Okay, so it's tabled or postponed. Yes,
So that item's done. So next item is going to be your PNB report.
I'm sorry, we don't have time for this. We have to
is,
go to public.
Steve, you're out of
Yeah.
order.
No.
If you have a motion to make, then you can make it.
I made the point of order, and you
It
have
is
to
a point of
proceed on
order.
it.
No.
It's already standing.
No, because we still have an option of extending.
Nobody has done
It
that.
goes to to members of the PNB.
Point of
So
procedure.
Kathy's motion, yes.
You go first. Point of procedure, actually, I move that we move to public comment in order to maintain our agenda.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of changing the agenda?
I totally agree with Carolyn's motion, but it's absolutely unnecessary. The chair must automatically, does not require a vote of this body. You must discharge our legal obligation at 30 minutes of public comment. So we have to go right now.
I'm glad that Bob Lederer and Steve Brown are in accord. All, and I'm standing objecting to that motion. But are there any objection? Well, there's a motion made to change the agenda to go to public comment right now.
It's not changing.
Yes, it is. It's changing the agenda.
So, excuse me, you have to rule on my point of order. Are you rejecting it? Are you saying that we are not required to have 30 minutes of public comment before we adjourn? What are you saying?
I'm saying that when we come to the end of the time, people could move then to extend the time. This is not the way in which it has to happen.
Follow-up question, Mr. Chair. If that motion fails, excuse me, if that motion, excuse me, if the motion to go to public comment were to fail, and we just proceed on with our normal business, and 9 o'clock we adjourn, that would be legal?
It's up for the board to
No,
take
it's not up to the
responsibility
board.
for whatever it
It's
does.
mandated by the bylaws. You are violating the bylaws by forcing us to vote on something that's required.
Okay, I rule that your point of order is not well taken. You're talking about wasting time here. All in Well, if you would have just let it go, it would have happened, but now you want to play this parliamentary game.
Point of
So,
information, Mr.
yes.
Chair. I have to say, I am confused. We are required to go to 30 minutes of public comment. If the board does not make a decision right now about what we're doing, if we just go along to the next report, we are de facto agreeing to extend the meeting. Is that what we're doing?
Yes,
No.
that would probably be true,
No, that's not.
but she's correct.
This is, we're moving, there's a motion to change, I ruled that Bob's point of order was not well taken.
I didn't say that. Why can't you answer my question?
I did answer, I said no. I said no, that's not correct.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
I moved to overturn the chair on that ruling.
Yeah, Bob is going to, okay. Steve moves to overturn the chair. On this issue, all in favor of upholding the ruling of the chair, please raise your hand.
We don't even know what the ruling of the chair is.
The chair ruled that the agenda is, that Bob's point of order was not well taken.
Which is what?
That my point of order that we are required to go to 30 minutes of public comment.
That's
now.
not a point of order.
That was the point of order. I'm repeating what we're voting on, Mitch.
Well, we're voting on it, okay.
We're voting on, you're rejecting my point of order that we are now required to go immediately to public comment. The bylaws
Mitchell, can
require
I read how I have this
Yes.
transcribed?
Sure.
I have Bob's point of order that we have to go automatically to points to public comment without voting to change the agenda. That the chair can rule that we can do this. You ruled that that point of order was not well taken. Now we're voting whether or not.
Correct. So all in favor of upholding the ruling of the chair, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, all opposed, all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8. So the chair is overturned, the ruling of the chair, and now.
We go to automatically to public
Public
comment.
comment.
Right now, there's a motion to go to change the agenda.
Overturning.
Point of order, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, the agenda is set by the body, and the body has to go by the agenda it has set. The only way to change that is for a member to make a motion to change the agenda. Now, notwithstanding this rather bizarre point of order that suddenly came up, there is still the requirement that we adhere to our agenda.
Please do not characterize.
I am characterizing the point of order.
What was bizarre
It's
passed,
bizarre because
so
it's
that's-
saying that the chair is overruling the body in terms of its agenda. What a disastrous precedent that would be. But right now, despite any of that stuff, there is a motion on the floor to change the agenda, and that's there. You can't not have that there.
All in favor of changing the
Okay,
agenda?
I'm sorry. I don't like to keep doing this, but this is outrageous, okay? We just debated this question. We voted overwhelmingly to say it is not correct that it should be discretionary as to whether to go to public comment. It should be automatic. That was the vote of this body. If the last speaker didn't agree with that, perhaps he could have voted against it, but that's the will of the body. So now it's time for public comment. You know, if we want to make a new procedure in the future, we can do that, but that's not where we're at now. Can we please respect the majority sentiment here as just voted?
Yes, I need, this is too convoluted for my feeble brain at this time.
Just go
Yes,
to
Nia?
public comment. Just go to public comment.
First, I'd like to find out, what are you going to do, and then I'll make my comment. Are you going to go to the public comment?
Well, thank you for asking. What I had hoped we would do was vote to change the agenda and then go to public comment, and it would have been very simple. And everybody, I think, would have agreed with that. But no, there had to be a wrinkle thrown in, and now we're caught up in this convoluted process. So, going to take a step back and let sanity rule and go to public comment.
Okay, okay.
Representative of Sanity, that's you?
Everybody agreed. Everybody agreed on that.
Where's the mic, the public comment?
Yes, so,
You talk. Time for public comment.
seeing none,
Who wants to speak?
Public comment?
Anybody has?
Steve, could you give Saul your mic?
I'd like to make a comment in reference to what the, extend my time because he's not paying attention and talking, crosstalk. I thought this would have been, by the majority votes have been going down to allow, you know, Gary Dull to be here, that this would have been resolved because the listeners should have gone up, but I see it hasn't. So we haven't had a miracle. So maybe we need to go back to doing things what BAI is about. And there's been some issues with some of the way the reporting has been on issues around here because we're behind rather than being ahead of regular media. There's also been allowing biased comments to go across the air in reference to the fact that Libya is not in the Middle East, it's in Africa. And there was also Africans, Southern Africans, that were being held and not allowed to escape the violence in Libya, and it wasn't reported properly. And BAI fell down in the court. And this is shameful. And the only time the correction took place, it took about 2 weeks, was when Amy Goodman had a professor on that kind of righted that ship. I think it's time that if we're gonna, and another thing I wanna go on, because I know it's short, but Women's Day wasn't up to the standard because, you know, there are women political prisoners. I haven't heard enough about political prisoners during the Women's Day reportage. I've heard music, and granted, I'm a creative person and went to a specialized high school that dealt with music, but to ignore political prisoners in this country that are locked up, like Lynn Stewart, and I don't hear her name mentioned during Women's Day, I find to be a shame, and BAI has fallen below its mission.
Anybody else like to speak? Each person gets, if you're new here, you get 2 minutes to say whatever related to BAI that you'd like.
I'd like to comment that we were discussing the budget. As yet, the Finance Committee has not received yet the 2011 budget for this year, a copy of such, and we are now, what, almost 6 months into this year? It would be nice if we got a copy of the budget as was passed. It was asked for in the last meeting and it was not forthcoming. I don't know how we're going to be able to do our job on the Finance Committee without that information. All right?
Time's up, okay. I'd just like to add about the finance report. I suggested at the before the last local finance committee meeting that we review first quarter of this year, and I was just sort of dismissed, and the information isn't available, but now the National Finance Committee has said that we should do it. So I hope you can find the information on Paul. And then I'd like to thank Mr. Steve Brown for, I understand last week he objected, or last meeting he objected to me being nominated for an office, so he was trying to protect me from something that maybe I didn't know about. But unlike Steve, when I want to do something, I generally do appear and do agree, and I authorized it, not like Steve when he was going to be thrown off the board. He just never showed up, so he wanted to make sure that I didn't show up.
I never objected to it.
All right, you're not allowed to
I
respond.
sort of think.
Hold on.
Somebody don't do
You have to say this again.
The
members of the board are not allowed to respond to what people say. What they say may be true, may not be true. It's for everybody to decide. Until we change that rule, that's the way it's gonna continue to be. Is there anybody else that, would like to speak? All right, seeing none, the next point on the agenda is Jamie.
The P&B report.
So we have four members of the PNB who are, Kathy, this was your motion. Do you want to start off?
Thank you. Actually, Nia gave about as much information, I think, as we could give in terms of the auditor's report that we received at the P&B. Gave reason for concern in that they described the Pacifica as a going concern. Now, for a lot of people may not know what that means. I certainly didn't know what it meant. But essentially what it means is that according to our most recent history, or the state we're in at this moment, there's a good chance that Pacifica will go out of business. That's what it means. And so the reason that I wanted to have this report is twofold. One, because we also have a certain responsibility to let all of the members of this LSB know the state of Pacifica. But also, I think we have a responsibility to engage in some activities to preserve BAI, to preserve the network. And so I simply wanted to put forth a motion to revive the fundraising development task force, so that we can not so much put together ideas, but to be task oriented and create opportunities and activities that will generate funds for the station. And anyone else from the national board could certainly chime in. I don't have the actual paperwork with me, but we had a personal responsibility to bring that information to the local station board, and the local station board has a responsibility to do more than pass motions of what management should do. That's important, but we also have a responsibility to do something, and I think we need to take the time to do that. So that's my motivation for my motion.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Point of information.
I have a question. Kathy, as a member of the PNB, relevant to
Use
what
the
you
mic.
said.
Use the mic, please.
Sorry, is there a mic here? Relevant to your question as a member of the PNB, does the PNB have an emergency fallback plan? Let us say that we continue as we have been, and as the auditor expects us to continue, and at some point, we absolutely cannot continue. Is there a fallback plan? And then I have several that I can think of offhand. Does the PNB have one? What do they do at that red light moment?
Let me try to deal with that.
Well, let me go to, do you want to go next, Nia?
Yeah, can.
Well, I don't necessarily have to answer Steve's question because he asked it to Kathy, so I wouldn't be that presumptuous to answer. But do you want to answer first, Kathy, before I give my report?
I'm not sure that I understand what a fallback plan would be that you're referring to. I know that several, the executive director has put together a task force, and the PNB has a task force that's going to be addressing these issues. As far as having a plan, I haven't seen one.
Nia.
Okay.
All right, let him
For
follow up.
example, what I meant by a plan was the treasurer reports to the PNB that in exactly 30 days they will have not a penny left. They will have these various expenses.
Now, one plan might be to fire everyone, have a transmitter at each station, and have one feed for all the stations, and you save $14 million. That's one plan. Now, that's not a great plan, but surely, it's like when you live in a building, they give you a piece of paper that says what to do in case of fire. Take that staircase. Where's the P&B's fire escape? A task force now, when we're 6 months from bankruptcy, is bizarre, if I may use the word that Mitch doesn't like.
Nothing, I don't dislike the word bizarre, it was all context. Nia?
Okay, I think that I would like to start from the beginning, and I mentioned it earlier, that at this P&B meeting that I personally went to the majority group of the P&B, and I, you know, it was a moment where it's just, I'm tired of this going back and forth in this endless war. Personally, I'm tired of it. And what I did was I reached out to them, me, Kathy, and Alex, and Carol, they were there, and I said, you know, I was very honest, as I usually am, and some people were a little upset, but I'm sorry, you know, the truth hurts. And I don't like to always do, but I don't like to do what's popular, I like to do what's correct and necessary. And I think that this P&B, I think we're more collegial, so I reached over to people, I extended my hand, I had an open hand, an open heart to hear what people had to say, and the voting for the chair and the vice chair, that was unanimous, because I asked the folks, you know, my quote-unquote comrades, to support the chair and the vice chair. There was the secretary, well, there was some splintering among themselves, and we voted for whoever they wanted to vote for. But in terms of the vice chair and the chair, there was unanimous vote for both of those people. I have been asked by both sides to come to WBAI's local station board and do the same thing. I always open up by saying, you know, we should close ranks and come together and work as one, and I'm willing to do that. Forget about the condescension. I mean, I too will not react to condescension or sarcasm. I will try, and I think that's what we should strive to do, because I think that this P&B is aiming towards doing that, because the bottom line is that the foundation is floundering. I wouldn't go the extreme of risk to you so that we're going to be in bankruptcy and we won't be around. Obviously, our assets are worth more than our liabilities. So, not that we want to sell anything, but you know, we do have more assets than we have liability. So that's coming to you guys to say, let's work together. Forget about the condescension, all this other stuff that we all do. Coming to you maturely to ask you to please cooperate with us. We certainly cooperate with you guys because we vote with you guys more than you vote with us. Getting things on the agenda, putting that, just basic things just so we can all work together. That's my task as a P&B director. To you guys, I'm doing that, and it's up to you. You know, I come to you with open heart, with an open heart and open hands.
Thank you. Next, the PNB Director, Alex, and then Carolyn. Alex, I see you, but I want to get the director's reports in there.
Okay, we were presented with a very sobering audit report at the National Board meeting in Houston this couple of weeks ago. I wouldn't, it is a very serious situation that the Pacifica Foundation is in. I would not say where we could go bankrupt in 6 months, but we certainly could be in a lot of trouble in 6 months. We do have, our assets are considerably more than our liabilities, but the problem is that, exactly, we may have to dispose of some of those assets in order to stay afloat. And that means primarily licenses for a radio station. We will do everything we can to prevent that from happening. Nobody wants to see that happen, and as far as I'm concerned, it's not going to happen, but we do have some very difficult work ahead of us to make sure that we get through this, and this is happening at the same time as there's a concerted right-wing campaign to defund NPR, which of course also impacts us. Something like 20% of our funding comes from Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Maybe less in the future. One of the things that the National Board will be doing, we are creating, well, we have a task force already created. It'll have its first meeting this coming Tuesday. That task force will be charged with the job of coming up with a financial recovery plan for the next 3 years. It'll include members of the Audit Committee and the National Finance Committee, as well as the Executive Director and the CFO of the Foundation. And we'll be also adding people who are not on any of those bodies who may have some particular expertise in some of the areas we need that expertise in. In addition, the directors here will be meeting with the General Manager Bertold Reimers tomorrow about some specific items that the auditor mentioned that need to be looked at as far as the operations of WBAI are concerned. So that's set for tomorrow. Nia and Kathy and Carolyn and I will be meeting with Bertold tomorrow on that. And Nia, yeah. So that's where we're at. Some of the discussion on the National Finance Committee last night went into some of these issues. That is archived. You can listen to it on the web. And that's about all I can say right now.
I'm gonna get to Carolyn, and then we could go to, and then we'll open it up.
May I have the microphone, Jim?
Yeah, I have a,
Okay.
actually it's 9.
Well, let Carolyn finish her report, and then we'll.
Thank you for that courtesy. This was the first meeting of my return to the board, first national meeting. And I just want to make a brief comment about the value of in-person meetings. We're going to be cutting them down. I suspect we will not have 4 this year. We can't afford to have 4. But it was really good to meet the new people. And I think the new people are going to be the hope of the PNB. One of the new people pointed out that from his point of view, the PNB is not a functional body, echoing what people say about all of the LSBs, especially Alan. But we're counting on the new people to be some leavening and bring perhaps a little better organization to the national board and how they work together. I think that the national effort by the government to shut down public radio and remove our funding is going to affect us drastically, and we need to work on the local and the national level for that. So the PNB is concerned about that. The task force is going to be vital. That's going to come up with Plan B and several of them. One of them, of course, is to reduce stations to a skeleton staff and run them with music piped in from other stations. That's a possibility. It's not impossible. Our financial position is much worse than most of us had understood before this meeting. We have consolidation of efforts. One development director for the entire foundation would be a good idea. One webmaster for the entire, instead of a different one at every station, and so on. So we're thinking creatively, and I think the task force will come up with plans that we really need. But I do think that I feel positive despite the negative thing. I think in the long run, this financial crisis is going to be our salvation. It's really forcing us to think creatively. So all in all, I give the meeting a B+, and I'm looking confident going forward.
Thank you. So now time has run out for the meeting. There are a number of people on the staff who want to talk about all this stuff, but that would require a change in the agenda. So so if there's a motion to extend time to deal with discussion on this subject only, I guess, is there a motion? Is there a motion to that end, or do people just want to split?
I don't hear one.
Okay, so no motion, so, yeah, Bob?
Move to extend 15 minutes.
Okay, so Bob makes a motion to extend for 15 minutes. Is there any objection?
Point of information.
Yeah, just say that you want to do it and I'll put it on there, but that's a month away from now. Is there any objection to 15, yeah? Yes, you made a motion to set up a fundraising development task force. But I didn't hear any, there was no, what does that mean? You know, there was no discussion of that, nothing on that. So I would say that it would require passing, you know, more time to talk about that. It wasn't seconded. Okay, you know what it is? I have no idea what it is. Okay, we're just going to go to vote. All in favor of Bob's motion to extend time for 15 minutes, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 6, 7. 7. All opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it doesn't have 2/3. I'm sorry. So this meeting is now adjourned.
We have to vote
Oh wait, we have to vote on Kathy's. We have to vote on Kathy's motion.
Well, if we extend it for 15 minutes, we'd have time to do that. Why don't you vote against it? Kathy, why'd you vote against extending for 15 minutes? Did you want to vote in your motion?
Well, I'm letting this discussion pan out. All in favor? No, it's on the floor. So we're going to finish this. Kathy made a motion to set up a fundraising development task force. Of the LSB?
You don't need that motion.
So you'll convene it?
Wait, you're out of order, Alex. This is, if you want to extend time, well, I know you voted to, but
This is what I'm saying.
that's right. You either extend time or you don't. So,
Want to change your mind, Kathy?
all in favor of,
Yeah. How are you going to do this?
all in favor of Kathy's, yeah? All in favor of Kathy's motion,
She voted no to extend the time.
please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All opposed? None, so that passes. And now we are adjourned.
Motion to
I
adjourn.
have a point of,
You don't need it.
I have
It's
a
run
point of
out.
information. Do you have a point of information? How is this going to be how is this going to be constituted? This committee?
I have no idea. Exactly, that's
Task
one of
force
the
are generally volunteers.
I agree, I think it's, I agree with you.
No. Ask Mitchell. No, I don't think so. Ask Mitchell. It's probably somebody's stupid idea.
Is the plan to
No,
have,
too. Some of the people who used to complain about that would have wanted to extend. It's crazy. At any rate,
That's why in the beginning, when they talked about extending, they were reluctant.
Yeah, they did get here earlier, but it was an agenda took so long.
Yeah, that happens every time. So those who want to get some work done, and I should have got up and to say that.
I know what you mean. I didn't get
People who want
I didn't get to read the agenda this time because whatever happened, the file must have been too big. It must not have attached it on it. I got everything else except the agenda. That's the reason I don't know.
Yeah, the public comment took.
Because I would have said maybe said something about something else that was on the agenda. But I didn't.
The agenda took longer. It was given 20 minutes and it took even longer.
Yeah.
So there's not much you can do if the session was planned for 100 minutes. 20 minutes was planned for agenda and it actually went longer. Light is on. Oh, you're taping yourself?
Yeah, I always run after me. I'm recording Bernard White leaving with Saul. Bernard White going out the door.
Yeah, no, I listen to that. I had
Today.
Oh, I guess I'll shut it off.